Please welcome, give a warm welcome to Mr. Manu Bennett!
Hello. Hi.
Hey Manu, how's Belgium been treating you so far?
You know, I've seen a little bit of Gent, you know, a little bit just around the centre. Very beautiful, you know. I'm always looking at buildings, wondering how old they are and the stories behind them. But yeah, it's beautiful, you know. I mean, one of the absolute privileges I have, you know, as an actor, and especially with conventions, is getting to travel the world and see places and try to understand, you know, what each city is going through, or how it's you know moving along. You know, it's I mean the world is a complex place right now. You know, we have a lot of issues with you know, immigration, religion, all these sorts of things, and you know, being a person who's involved in storytelling as an art form, you know, I really hope the projects, you know, I said this yesterday, but you know, I really hope the projects start being more upfront. You know, artists need to speak up about a lot of these things and make these things that make us sort of think about life as you know, we read about things in newspapers and radio, you know, and stuff like this, but a lot of that is already sort of, you know, government organised kind of, you know, stuff. Artists get to step up and sort of say things. Not saying that, but you know, that it's ever, you know, the right perspective, but at least we have the opportunity to get up and say it. So I think, you know, for coming to Europe and you know, I sort of understand nationalism to a degree, you know, but it's interesting being in Belgium where you've got Flemish and Dutch and French. You know, yesterday I was signing like, you know, P-O-U-R, like for the person, you know, P-O-U-R, they go, I'm not French, I'm Dutch. So I'd go, voor. You know, and the next person would come along and I'd go, voor, and they'd go, I'm not Dutch, I'm French. So I'd sign that and they'd go, no, I'm Flemish. You know, yeah, we've all got to move on somehow, you know. And I hope that, you know, in filmmaking and television making, these social stories will start to develop that'll help us sort of, you know, understand each other better.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to open up the floor for questions from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So if you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll come running. Well, not really running.
Hello. Hi.
Hi there.
You play in the Shannara Chronicles, and I'm wondering, what are you feeling when you play the role itself, and what do you think about the series?
You know, I thought, you know, the production of Shannara was just so wonderful. I mean, this was the funny thing. I only just arrived in Los Angeles. That was the first time I'd had a break from Arrow. You know, I did Spartacus, I went straight into The Hobbit, and then I went straight into Arrow. And so I didn't have any break in my career until that point. And so I arrived in Hollywood for the first time, got myself an apartment, bought myself a car, you know, settled in for the idea of finding the next project, and my first casting was Shannara. And can I give you this, darling? It's just dinging away like crazy. Thank you. Yeah. So I went and I read for this thing, and at first I was a little bit concerned that it was a teenage drama. You know, I didn't really want to get involved in a teenage drama. You know. But then I sort of, you know, saw that it had sold 50 million copies. You know, I'd been in The Hobbit, and it was kind of like an Americanized sort of version of kind of Tolkien's world, in a way. And so I thought, and then somebody said to me, it's filming in New Zealand, and the production crew was going to be all the people that had done The Hobbit, and people that I worked with on Spartacus. And so I started to feel quite positive about that, being able to go home, and so I went in and read for it, and they offered me the role, and so I just moved to Hollywood, and they flew me back to New Zealand. But it was great, you know, and honestly, it was like going home to family. You know, all the production crew, all the people doing costuming and everything like that, all worked on Lord of the Rings. If you watch Shannara, honestly, the production value of it is just phenomenal. Just throw it in the toilet or something like that. But how do I say this without getting into trouble? Terry Brooks wrote a very good book series They tried to turn it into a television show, and the gap between that was the problem with the show, really. I think, Terry's writing is brilliant. I mean, when I read The Sword of Shannara, and I read Al-Anon appearing in scenes, and it was very dark, and it was quite a tense and a wonderful character, But they tried to write it for television in a modern way that kind of did some stuff, and I don't know whether it was so true to Terry's world. So in the end, we've done 2 seasons. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of all the people who are in the production, makeup, costume, all those guys. Just fantastic. Cinematography was just wonderful. Unfortunately, it just wasn't winning. Terry wasn't allowed to put his story 100% on that page, on that screen. But it's a shame that it's finished. I think there's a lot of fans of the show that were getting into it. It's like somebody's in a music room with a triangle. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it because of the people that were around me when I was filming. And I really enjoyed Al-Anon. Al-Anon was a great character. I'd never played a protagonist as such, and it was just wonderful to sort of be the sort of a father figure as well to some of the younger actors. It was a responsibility, and it kind of, I don't know, I really felt comfortable in that role. Just put it in the bin. Close the lid. I hope that answers it.
Hi, over here in the back. We're big fans of Spartacus, and I was wondering, when you finished the first season, you had the story of Crixus, you portrayed him in a certain way, but then you did like the prequel, I guess we could say, and we got to see Crixus, a different Crixus, and I was wondering if that was hard to change it?
It was great. It was a really wonderful opportunity. To be honest, I based Crixus and the storyline between myself and Spartacus in the first season. I based it upon a relationship that I had from high school. When I was in high school, I had an enemy. I think he made an enemy of me first. He was a guy that had like a mullet haircut and wore black kind of t-shirts with death metal and stuff. He was kind of an angry guy, right? At that stage, I had a very stable family. I did break dancing. I wore gel in my hair. It was kind of trendy. So this guy hated me. We were 2 different dogs, And we'd always be this close to having a fight all the time. He really came at me quite aggressively. Then I was involved in a car accident, and my mother was killed, unfortunately, And I was in a coma in the hospital for like 2 weeks, or, something close to that. When I woke up in the hospital room, this person was at my bedside, like my worst enemy. And then I found out that Matthew's mother had passed away when he was young. And I never knew that. All I knew was this aggressive young guy, but then I suddenly knew his story. And now I was in his story as well. And now I was going through the same experience of loss. He ended up being like he's one of my best friends, and I was the best man at his wedding, and just that ability to transition from enemies to friendship, and real friendship. Friendship of understanding somebody's soul, understanding their loss, understanding what really makes them, who they are. That kind of propelled me into playing Crixus the way that I envisaged him behaving to me. Like somebody I didn't know, somebody you didn't know. I tried to play him so the audience wouldn't know who Crixus was, that he was just angry and aggressive. And because I knew the storyline was going to peel that onion slowly. But I remember my producer came up to me after 3 episodes or 4 episodes, and he said, "Manu, what are you doing? Have you read on the online posts? Nobody likes Crixus. Everyone thinks you're an arse." And you're meant to be you're meant to be sort of this champion. We're trying to build Crixus up to be a champion figure, And you're going to have a relationship, by the way, in the next episode with a lady called Navia, and nobody's going to like you, and nobody's going to warm to the relationship. look, my producer was the kind of guy that sees Clint Eastwood as the heroic, the American idea of hero, the guy that doesn't shift, just has that intensity the whole time, you know what I mean? And shows very little emotion. Whereas I decided that I wanted to give Crixus a whole thing that was underneath and bring it out. And so I said to him, just bear with me, please, Rob, And then, then we started doing the finger touching with Navia through the bars, and then Crixus turned to a little boy that was searching for, a woman, someone like every guy does, like trying to find your mother or something Freudian, you know what I mean? And then so he developed like this. Now what happened was, we would never have done the prequel, and it was such a sad incident because it was because of Andy's sickness. And he couldn't come back to the show, so we had to film a season without Andy in it. It was unheard of. But our writer was smart enough to write this season that would highlight the backstories of some of the other characters. And basically, they brought my character in like the way that Spartacus arrived. And so you had the kind of the virgin Crixus, the long-haired slave that came in before he became this person that had to fight for his life and rule by ferocity, and just in that process, I was able to humanize the character a lot more through the Gods of the Arena season, and that's when it hooked the audience in, I think, to seeing the other side of who Crixus was. Yeah, and if you haven't watched Spartacus, and I've just gone on for that long, and you're going like, what is he talking about? You'll just have to watch the transition. But I really enjoyed that character so much. Yeah, so much breadth to the changes in the life of that character on screen.
Hello, I'm also a really big Spartacus fan. A couple of years ago we had Liam McIntyre here, so this is really exciting to have you here. As you mentioned, Crixus is really, he's aggressive, like you said, he's also very intense. And we see that in Deathstroke as well. And I was wondering, is that something you look for in a character, or it's all coincidental?
I think everyone's just, I think as an actor you have to bring what you've got. You know what I mean? Like I've got a certain style, I guess, like a painter, you look at their paintings and I've got a certain style, or a musician and they've got a certain style. So as an actor, I've got a certain range of tools, but I like to dig deep. I really love to dig deep. I love it when they give me scripts and I read it and I go like, oh, that's, really pushing the emotional levels, or twisting the character from one point to another point. It's I think both Crixus and Slade Wilson are roller coaster rides, as an actor, and I just really love that challenge, But I don't know, I don't know whether my morality is any better or maybe worse than other people's. I try to have a moral idea of how I'm trying to process things. Integrity in a character. With Slade Wilson it was difficult because all of a sudden, I was taking Mirakuru and going crazy and doing all this sort of stuff. But I tried to think about the times when I was 20 years old and I'd lost my mother and I was out drinking and wandering the streets with kind of like anger and stuff like this going on. So I try to process those moments in my real life. Not that I'm so much a method actor. I did go to the Lee Strasberg School. And they started to sort of, they wanted to sort of tap into that part of my life and do stuff. And I did that for a while, but it's actually quite intense and it's very self-focused. Now I feel like I've come to a point in my career where I can just go in and do it, and then finish and look at the camera and go, yeah, manu, good stuff, and you're like, fantastic, yeah, we got that scene, Whereas if you're method acting, you're like, you have to go home and spend a few hours to sort of unwind. But I enjoy like showing real emotion, or trying to dig deep to show torment. And I don't think anybody's the hero, people watch Arrow, but how many people are Millionaire Playboy, I think they can relate more. Sometimes I feel like I'm more privileged to be playing the second character who gets to be damaged and stuff like that, because I think a lot more people can relate to that sort of pattern. of life.
Hi, I don't have a question, I have a request. I know for Spartacus, before a fight, you do a haka to get in the right mindset. So would you please introduce a haka today for us? Please.
Why do a haka on a Sunday? In the morning. Who wants to learn? Who would like to learn the haka? I like it when people come and join me and be able to partake. Yeah, if you want, just come out the front here and I'll... Actually, no, you know what? You ask me to do it, I'm going to ask you all to do it. Okay? Now, what a haka is about when two tribes would face each other in Maori, history. It was just a tradition. Each tribe would have the right to do this performance, this haka, and it was like a remembrance of your ancestors and sort of, and also it's about trying to get out of your mindset so that you become in warrior mode. Because obviously, you're thinking about, your normal family situation or stuff like that. You can't get into a battle and really be ferocious, So the whole thing was to sort of elevate your spirit out of normal into sort of like, toa, to become a sort of a warrior spirit. So I'm going to make two tribes here. Down the middle here. Okay, on this side, can you guys stand up, everybody on this side? Okay. Now turn around and face everybody on that side. Now, everybody on this side, can you stand up? At the back as well. Come on, kid with the glasses. Yeah, that's you. Okay, turn around and face them. Now, a haka, I'm going to tell you like two parts of the haka. The beginning of a haka is of kamate. Kamate, which is the famous one that the All Blacks do. Kamate means, will I die? And kaora means, will I live? So you're asking yourself this question immediately. Am I going to die or am I going to live? It's a powerful, very powerful words at the beginning of this haka. So it goes, kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Can we practice that together? Okay, just follow me, okay? Kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora, okay? After 3, 1, 2, 3. Kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Now do it again, but when you say kamate, kamate, say it like, am I going to die? Am I going to die? Kaora, kaora. Am I going to live? Try to feel it like that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Okay, now when you're doing it, you've got to crouch like this, right? And to animate yourself even more, you've got to slap your legs like this with both hands. So it's kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Now I'm going to test you. I'm going to test you now. I want you to take everything in your soul that you're frustrated or feeling or have as an emotion about and look at these people as though they're to blame. Let all your frustrations out. If you're peed off with your husband this morning, that's him. Or if your mum gave you a hard time this morning, that's her. Let out something about your feelings. Let it out, right? Okay? We'll give it a go. I know you're going to laugh. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the intro to the haka, which is kia rite, kia mo. I'm going to say kia mo, you go, hey. Drop down like this with your legs ready, your hands shaking like this, and then we're going to go kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Okay? On the ears. Kia rite, kia mo, hey. Welcome.
gods weren't that scary.
But you know, watch the All Blacks do it. Watch the All Blacks do it. You know, it's like this real intensity. It's a great channel. You know, the haka's a really incredible channel for energy. When I was doing Spartacus, I always used to do a haka before I went out to do my fight scenes. I mean, I'd get in a studio at like 6 o'clock in the morning and get put in makeup and a costume and go into a set and everyone's like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? I'm like, yeah, good morning guys, yeah. And it's like, okay, now we're in Rome, we're in the middle of a gladiator fight. And the only way I could get there was to just go off to the side and just go, oh my God! And then I'd walk onto the set and be like, you know, my eyes would be wide open and my soul would be burning and I'd just, poor Andy Whitfield or Liam McIntyre were like, oh no, Manu's done the haka again.
I think it was brilliant. I've never seen anything like it. I've been doing this for 19 years. This was a first. It was crazy. It was amazing. And I think it's a wonderful way to finish up this Q and A because our time is up. Do you have any parting words for your Belgian fans?
The kids look fantastic. Good outfits. And for the parents that bring the kids along, you know, and come here as families, you know, well done, well done. It's awesome to see. Thank you very much for coming and listening to me. You know, as an artist, I don't. Sometimes I wonder whether it's a real job, you know, and I wonder how effective, you know, it is to sort of take on this artistic world. And you know, sometimes you feel like you may be speaking some stories that are stereotype or culturally driven from a certain American angle or something. I don't know, you know. But you know, I try to travel as much as possible, and I try to meet as many people as I can, just to try to get more of an understanding of you know, this world and how we connect, you know. And thank you for coming and connecting with me and sitting here. It's really such an honor. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bennett!